Hey, hello everyone.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm excellent. Hey Narcisse,
Narcisse.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great. So this is the second episode of the UBU Live podcast, and um, it's interesting because I really want to have an open dialogue and talk about anything that you guys feel is relevant today. Can you hear me? Okay.
Hear you fine.
Yes.
All right. So just so that the people out there know, Narcisse and I have never had a conversation. We've never met. Um, I asked her last week would she co-host with me, and she said yes, and I was like, yay! And Pancho used to work with me, and we haven't spoken in 15 years.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So you life goes down a different track, but we worked together for about 6 or 7 years. So once you form that bond, you can always call them back up and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you. Narcisse, I want to start with you. You have a very interesting background. I kind of got scared when I saw that you are a mental health, human health, wait, say it, mental health, human behavioral analyst
mental health
and
behavioral mental health behavioral specialist.
specialist. Okay.
Mhm.
So now I feel like I'm now I feel like I have to like watch how I sit and make sure that I'm projecting properly and not seeing too overboard. But you do a lot of stuff, and much of what you do, I think a lot of us need. I know. I was reading through your profile, and I was like, she can help me a lot right now. So, um, tell us about yourself in
So,
your own
okay,
words.
if you guys will excuse me for a second, I don't know if you can
Yeah.
tell, but I'm like really short, right? And I'm only sitting on one cushion, and so you can barely see me. I'm gonna get another cushion. Hold on.
That's fine. That's
Yeah,
the fun. That's the fun of the live podcast and being unfiltered is you don't know what's going to happen, and I kind of that's the part that's exciting to me is that you just don't know.
Narcisse, my wife is 4'11", so I understand your
you
pain.
okay?
I
So
understand
we're
your
here.
pain.
We're literally here.
Yes, exactly.
So this is a little better. So you asked a little about me, and
Yes.
so number one, I'm a veteran, right?
Thank you for your
And
service.
thank
Thank you for
you.
your
And
service.
Same here. Same here.
thank you too.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your service. And I'm not just a veteran, but I'm a combat veteran, right? And then, so going from there, I joined the military right after high school. And from there, once I got out, I did 4 years active. From there is when I began to go to school and delve into psychology and take on different jobs in the mental health field and behavioral health field, which also ended with me being in being a crisis intervention specialist. So I've
which
dealt with
which means I'm sorry.
So, crisis intervention specialist means someone that deals with someone that's in the thick of a crisis and getting them from that crisis into a safe place.
Okay.
De-escalation. And so I was a part of a mobile crisis team where we actually went to the location of the crisis, and that could be at schools, hospitals, and then oftentimes homes, and then oftentimes we dealt with or integrated with police officers and other authorities because of the level of crisis. And so from there, I just have a vast background of experience because of my desire to always be improving and always looking, being self-aware, and always wanting to be the best step of towards humanity that I can be by being able to understand different perspectives.
Nice.
Okay.
What I mean, that seems rewarding, but at the same time, it seems challenging because you kind of have to decompress from that, don't you? I mean,
Yes.
you're taking in a lot and you're seeing a lot. You're seeing people
Yes.
at their worst. And
Yes.
some sometimes you save people and sometimes there are some people that can't be saved. They go
Mm-hmm.
through
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a known behavior or a known trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
what was your experience with that?
So my experience with that is this, and it's the same. I would say dealing with people in general. You can't rescue anyone that's not a willing participant in their own rescue.
Right.
They have to be a willing participant in their own rescue, with the exception of children.
Mm.
With the exception of children or seniors who are in a different state of mind, like maybe dementia or Alzheimer's, and so their capacity of even understanding or to even want to be saved is very
Right.
different, right? So there's that. So that's the difference. But and sometimes also dealing with people who may be in denial, which I must admit, for a long time, even myself as a veteran, I was in denial about certain mental health issues because they didn't look like I would expect them to look. Like I was educated on them
Hmm.
looking, right?
Right.
And so I'll be someone else considered a high functioning
Mm-hmm.
person with complex PTSD.
That's very interesting because um, the UBU platform was created with me and Greg Spiller. Um, and he was saying that he had see what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things I'm not going to try to do because I know I'm going to just mess it up. So I'll just go what you just said. And I'd never heard of that before.
Mm-hmm.
So
There-
um,
you- you'd be surprised at the return rate of combat veterans that have it that don't show symptoms of it.
Right.
really,
You'd really be surprised.
Yes.
did you experience the same thing?
Uh, um, at times, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it just depends on the person and how they
Yes.
compartmentalize it, and how they deal with it. For me, when I was in the service, I was a security police, so I was always in the front lines of the worst,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be in combat or even back in the States when I was just, policing each other. So I had a tainted look at everyone else. Um, but for me, it was very easy to put off what I could control and what I couldn't control. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people cannot do that. You have to be able to understand what you can control and what you can't control. And when you realize that and you let what you can't control go, your mental health is a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Did it help when you met Amy because you have a very strong family? You, your wife, your two kids, your grandchildren. I mean, that's a support system. Um, I don't know about Narcisse. I'm single. I'm by myself with two dogs. So it's different. So what do you think helped you to be able to adjust and recognize those symptoms?
She was when I met my wife. She was complete opposite of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was very outgoing. I was very loud. I was very, trying. I was very in the. If there was a group, I was trying to be, in charge of that group. She's quiet. She's very unassuming. You wouldn't even know she was there if you didn't know her. Um, and you know, people say opposite attract, but and it's true. She was my outlet. I was able to talk to her. I was able to communicate and say things to her that I was never able to talk to anyone else about. And you know, I had someone that held my secrets. You know,
Yeah.
and grew with me. You know, we had nothing when we got together, and we grew a life together. You know, day by day. Even when people told us that we were moving too fast, like when we first got together, my parents, my mom, you know, I told her I was going to ask my wife to, you know, Amy to marry me. She was like, "Oh, you need to slow down. You've only known her 18 months." And I was like, "You've been married."
That's enough.
I said, "You've been married 3 times. Are you going to tell me what?" You know, my dad. I told my dad. You know, he was like, I told him, I said, you know, I'm going to ask her to marry me. Oh, you need to slow down. You guys have only known each other. I was like, you've been married twice too, and you work. You know, you're about to lose this one. You know, so the last people I was taking advice from was them. You know,
Right.
and I told her when I first met her, I said, I knew the moment I met you that you were the one.
Wow.
I knew the moment I met her. I said, I had to convince her that.
So did she
You
accept right
know,
away?
look, you know, the funny part about our relationship is that we lived for 2 years. We lived 8 houses away from each other, and we never ran into each other. I played basketball with her brothers. I had seen my future mother-in-law and father-in-law. Um, you know, we had our paths never crossed. And that one day I decided, do I want to get gas or not to get gas? I decided to go get gas, and she was there. So, you know, to me, it was fate. I knew it. And, you know, we haven't been apart since. It, we'll be celebrating 29 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah. You know,
That's fantastic.
yeah, 2 kids and 2 grandkids later.
Chai Dong said, "Love this. Be careful who you're taking opinions from."
Exactly.
So back to Narcisse. So we were talking about the CP, that thing,
Yes.
that condition. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Um,
PTSD.
and everybody understand that I am flawed, and I know if I'm going to mess something up. So if I throw something back, it's because I'm going to start. It'll take me 10 minutes to get the word out. So
So,
back to the subject on you and how you dealt with it and what type of support you had, and then how that led you to help people that um, that were in need of help.
so I was helping people long before I even realized that I had issues that needed to be dealt with, right? And most of it was when I was doing mobile crisis. There was this one individual who was a sergeant in Vietnam and several other wars that we would go out to many times for crisis. And
Okay.
I remember when I first went out on a call with him, and I connected with him because of not just where he was then mentally, but because of his experience, right? And I would always be able to calm him down and to be able to calm him down enough to be okay with getting back into the shelter, his residence where he was at the time, and not hurt himself or hurt anyone else, and not become overtaken by the guilt of survival, that he had experience as well, that he was dealing with being someone that came back and lost soldiers in the war, right? And my ability to connect with him, because being in similar experiences, right? And knowing what kind of things we face, I had that compassion along with that relatability. Because I had, and I all in the back of my mind, I had this fear and this anxious thought of snapping, because I never talked about my experience. So I started in Different Shit of the Storm. I never talked about my experience. I never talked about what I saw. I never talked about a lot of things. When I came home from Desert Storm, Desert Shield, there was no way of reintegrating back into civilian life. There was no debriefing. We're like robots. It was like back to duty as is. You put things back together, put things back in place. You're back on duty. You're back on roll call. And that is what it is, right? So, but in the back of my mind, when I got out of the military, my way of dealing with that then was to act like the experience never even happened. Number one, I didn't even come back home. I'm from Texas. I didn't even come back to Texas. My mother had relocated from Texas to Arizona, so I went to Arizona. And from there, I put away like all the pictures, everything. Like I didn't want anything at all. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to mention it. And I really didn't want it brought up. And in a way, what that did, I robbed my mom and others that wanted to celebrate not just me coming home, but me being a veteran, me serving in the military, me having an honorable discharge. I robbed them of the pride, because whenever they would bring it up, or whenever anyone would bring it up, I would get defensive, like, and I would kind of feel betrayed by it, like who told you to share that information? And so what I didn't know was that was a sign of PTSD.
I self-medicated. I came home and I got out and started to party, and continued to party for 9 months until I realized that I was killing myself, to be honest.
Damn.
Because it was just a daily routine of drinking and getting high.
So
And
I know that you are were a big proponent of the ganja, right? I know.
still am.
Okay. So you're talking about something else,
Yes.
drinking and other things. Okay,
Yeah.
got you. All right, I just wanted to make that distinction.
Yeah. I had a very, very good support system. I had an uncle that was still in the service, and my family got me help. And I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Okay, from Philadelphia.
From Philadelphia to Los Angeles, and I moved in with my dad and my brother and sister, and that changed my life. It gave me purpose again, and I think that's what it really is. I think when you get out and you come home, your responsibility level is nowhere near what it used to be when it was in the service. So you really feel inadequate, and you have no real purpose. So you compensate for different things in different ways. She shut everything down. She shut it all out and shut it all down like it didn't exist. I went the opposite. I wanted everyone to know what the hell I did, and we were going to celebrate it and drink it and be happy that I was home. So everyone had their way of handling it and dealing with it. When I moved out here to California, I decided that I was going to change everything that I was doing. I stopped drinking. I stopped getting high. I got clean and started working. And basically doing what I was doing in the service, security, because that's what I knew. It was easy.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was easy. You fall right into it. You got an honorable discharge. You can do everything. Companies will hire you in a second, and you just fall into a routine. Um, for me, the move and the change of environment was everything,
Mm-hmm.
everything. Because after that, even when I went back home to Philadelphia, I could see myself hanging out and still doing some of the same things I used to do. And it's just, I had to change my environment.
So it was triggering
Yeah.
when you went back.
Yeah.
But you go back often, don't you?
Well, my mom's still home.
Right.
I'm home at least once a year, if not more. And when my Eagles win the Super Bowl, I go home more. Like this.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
I just had to slip that in.
Oh, of course, of course. So it's interesting because one of the things I wanted to talk to Pancho about was being a veteran, and so both of you guys being a veteran, it actually adds to the conversation. Um, so I'm going to ask you guys a very. So, what are your thoughts about what you guys put your lives on the line for, in the direction we're heading in today? Deep, right?
I think about that a lot.
Do
And
you?
not just, yes, I do. And not just where we're headed today, but different things, different phases of government changes locally, statewide, and federal. Um, I think about, and I don't not only think about the changes within the governmental system overall, I often think about as well some of the things that myself and other non-white people faced while in the military and still face post-military. So I am every day confronted with my service to the country, to this country, and this business of a country. And at times, the things that I fought for, I'm still fighting for. We're still fighting for. That we
Yeah,
fought for others, we're still fighting for ourselves.
got it. You, sir?
Interesting question.
It's relevant.
It is relevant. I tend to take a different approach as far as I take control over what I can control.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
I work for Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services.
okay.
So my job wise isn't so much dependent on what's going on with the government as far as, because I'm a county employee. However, the programs that we do and the programs we use and provide are very much affected by each administration and how it's how they go about their day-to-day business. This country has always been about
Just say it, because I mean,
it's always
it's
been a
debatable.
It's always been a capitalistic,
Mhm.
society. Now, though, they're not trying to hide it. They're not trying to cover it up and make it look like, we're doing it for the good of the people. Now it's just because they want to. It's for the good of them. It's no longer for the good of us. And when I say us, I mean the US.
Right.
It's a business now. It's a corporation.
It has always been a corporation.
Yes, but we were the stockholders at one point.
Right. Right.
Okay? And to be honest, we were the stockholders. We put in what this country did, and we defend and everything like that. It's no longer that anymore.
Right.
It's no longer about us.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I had this conversation with my son and some of his friends. They're all in their early 20s. The minority in this country is the white man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you heard me. You heard me say the minority in this
Uh-oh.
No
country.
lies told. No lies told.
Yes. However, they happen to hold the power for the moment. So I told them, I listened to their conversations. They're so funny with their conspiracies and
The younger kids,
oh my God, they're
getting it all from like TikTok and
they're
stuff.
hilarious.
It's horrible. I can't hold a
and,
conversation with my daughters about
I sit
politics.
outside with my son, and he talks about the fake sky that's up in the sky, and everything. It's funny, but I tell them, I said, you guys are the future. You guys are going to control what's going to happen later on, and it's your voices, and it's your opinion, and it's your votes, and everything like that. I said, I've done the work. I said, you guys have to, your parents, your grandparents, they sacrificed. They did the hard stuff. It's up to you guys to maintain what's going to happen next. And we have the majority of this country is mixed now.
Yeah.
55 to 60% of the country is mixed. At some point in time, that is going to take control. And this right now is their last hold, and their last hold in trying to do whatever they can to maintain and control whatever they can.
All right, so that leads me to a conversation that I had last week, and we left on a cliffhanger. All right, so I thought it was really good. It was like 3 minutes before we were about to go off. Michael LeBlanc, who is a great guy, cybersecurity. He's looking for a position. So anyone out there, Michael LeBlanc's your guy. He said the 2016 and the 2024 elections were America saying that we needed change in the administration. And I asked him, I said, is that true? Or is America not ready for a female president? Because if you listen to what they said about Hillary Clinton, and you listen to what they said about Kamala Harris, I'm going to just say it real quick. I don't like the way she laughs. She doesn't smile enough. There's something about her. I don't know what it is, but I don't trust her. Her haircut is wrong. Her haircut is too long. And when you go to, there's something about her. And remember, her is Hillary and Kamala. When you go to, there's something about her that you don't trust, but you trust someone who had a 34-count felony against him, a sexual assault against him, several bankruptcies, impeached twice, and you trust him more than a qualified female. That's the first thing, all right? The second thing is, and I'm giving this to anyone out there that wants to talk, come on in. I'll invite you on the stage if you have opposing views. We're great with it. The second thing is, why in the hell would someone vote against their own interest? Why would someone vote against their own interest? So right now, I'm hearing all of these people out there, from women to the Hispanic community, saying, I didn't know this was going to happen. He told you it was going to happen. He said he was getting rid of all of y'all, but the people that went back to Pakistan didn't think that meant them.
Mhm.
You know, it is unbelievable the amount of it's unbelievable the fact that we're not ready to recognize that a woman can hold power. Especially when you see it in Germany, you see it in Mexico, you see it in New Zealand, Great Britain. I mean, Margaret Thatcher was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the head of parliament. So what are your thoughts on that? I know that was a lot, right?
Well, raised by a woman, as a single mom, you know, I don't see, you know, I've never had an issue with it. My wife runs my household.
I'm sure she does.
She lets me think I do, as you know, which is fine. But I do not know what the problem with Americans are with a woman in power. I don't know if it's I to be honest, I have no idea. But I tell you what, all those people that voted for him and are saying that they don't understand this is what's going to happen, and they can't believe this. This is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had I won't give any names, but you know, I had Black friends in LA. I'm from Los Angeles, Narcisse. I'm living in Florida now, and I got into an argument with one saying Kamala was too hard in the 80s on drug offenders, but that was her job. She was what was she? Attorney General for the state of California, the largest state in one of the largest states in the country.
And she was one of the first Black attorney generals for the state of California. So she already had the, you know,
Pressure.
the pressure, right? It was already stacked against her. So if she didn't go hard, then she's not being hard enough. You know, if she goes too hard, then, you know. So she was stuck between a rock and a hard place anyway. And I to be honest, I think she handled it quite well. I think
she did her job.
Absolutely. And as far as, you know, people in California and how they feel about her.
Did Narcisse fall?
No, I didn't fall. I realized that my kitten had got a hold of something that
you know.
Okay. But you're fine, right?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Pancho did a big old crash in the background, and you just keep on talking. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just messing with you. Keep talking. Go ahead. Finish
Wasn't in my background. Yeah. It's so. I think she did a great job here. She, when they stack the deck against you, you do the best you can.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
I apparently we're just not ready for uh, a woman. Period. Whether she be white or black.
Yeah, that was my point. I mean, it didn't that I don't think the race was an issue in that. I think it
Mhm.
was we're not ready for a hmm. All right. So don't nobody yell at me. But I really believe that our current administration was not the result of America wanting something different. It's based on what Pancho just said
Mhm.
previously about holding on to power. So
Mhm.
you had a black man as president, and then there was no way they were going to let a woman come in because then where's their place?
Right.
Mhm.
Now you've completely lost all hold of everything. First,
Yeah,
Right.
when that the black man, and then you're gonna go from a black man to a woman. Now you're completely out of
right. It
power.
might be 16 years, or the next one might be Hispanic, or and
Exactly.
I think what a lot of people don't get, and I posted about this diversity, equity, inclusion. Um, Stop saying DEI. Say what part of it you don't like. Is it diversity? Is it equity? Or is it inclusion? What part are you
Mhm.
mad about?
Mhm.
Because we are a diverse country. We were called the melting pot, right? Bring
Yes.
your tired, your poor, your whatever. Come on, let us in. Um, People do not get that in order to be a minority in this country and to succeed, DEI is not getting you a job. You have to be 10 times better than the person on the list in order to get recognized. You have to work 3 times as hard and you have to prove yourself all the time and reprove why you're in that position. Um, which brings me to another question. Y'all ready for this?
Bring
Narcisse?
bring
Okay.
it.
All right. So we have a guy from Africa that has control over our Treasury Department, has control over the who stays and who goes, who's getting $8 billion a year in federal funding, which is welfare for corporate America. So let me ask you this: he's from South Africa. Would America put up with the Nigerian? I'm asking.
Wow. Okay.
Would America
Okay.
put up with a Nigerian
Hell
that
no.
has access to our federal government,
Come on
that
now.
is putting their own qualified people into our treasury system, that's telling us who to fire, or
No.
would they say go back to Africa?
First of all, they wouldn't even be in that position.
Even and let's make it fair, okay? So there, everything's equal. The Nigerian is a wealthy Nigerian. The Nigerian has invented a car place in Nigeria and here. They're both successful. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. Um, and I witnessed something on Friday that 100% hurt my heart, or Thursday. It was, first of all, we need to understand our history, and
Mhm.
we need to stop watching Fox News.
Hmm.
So 6 years ago, 7 years ago, Donald Trump was impeached.
Mhm.
Why was Donald Trump impeached? He was impeached because he told Zelensky that he would hold combat funding unless he lied and gave him information about Biden. So remember this.
Mhm.
That was the reason for the first impeachment. Zelensky comes into office last Friday or Thursday, and him and JD Vance berate him. It was like an ambush.
Mhm.
And I do this every so often, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm just self-hate. I don't know what it is. But I'll tune into Fox for like 2 minutes because that's all I can take to hear what they say. And their version of the story is Zelensky came and disrespected our White House. He didn't have on a suit.
He's
Now,
never worn.
Elon
First of
Musk,
all, he's never worn a suit and any meeting that he's gone to. Even when he went to, well, he went when he addressed Congress, he did have a suit on. But Zelensky should have known. He should have known from the very, very beginning that once he got into power, what was going to happen. This should have not have been surprising to, and at least off.
it wasn't. I'm not saying it was surprising. I'm just saying to witness it live,
Right.
to hear the quiet part out loud,
Mhm.
was shocking. And the way that they did it, Pancho, did you see it at all?
Yeah.
It was an ambush, and they put that man through hell. And the way he maintained his composure,
Stellar.
absolutely, because he was in a hostile environment, and he's fighting for his life. And Donald Trump says, "We'll defend you if you give us all of your rare mineral rights." Are you fucking kidding me? So now we're the mob?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, go ahead, finish what you were saying, Pancho. I'm sorry.
no, I'm just saying. I get it, and it shouldn't surprise anyone that's where they were going to come to and come from. You know, if I was Zelensky, I'd have told Donald Trump to kiss my ass. Right then and
Nothing
there.
to lose. Nothing to lose anyway.
Right. What exactly? What was he going to say or do?
Right. But that's kind of that's easy to say, but you're in someone else's house that has military armed forces, and you need to get out of the country and go back home.
There's no way in the world. First of all, there's no way in the world Donald Trump was going to do anything malicious to Zelensky in country. Now, once he got out of country, some shit happened. You know, Narcisse knows we're in the military. Anything can happen when and once they're out. But in country, he'd have never had anything to worry about.
Really?
No.
So you do know that I think it's Norway has refused to give us any gas for any of our military. They've cut off America.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not going to be the first country. I've heard several European countries have decided that they're going to create their own little, alliance without us until this administration is out.
So what happens to us? We're on an island by ourselves. What happens to us as a country with no allies?
Well, it depends on where you're talking about and what part of the world.
Just in safety. I mean, Canada's to our north and Mexico's to our south. They're now routing around us so that they can deal with each other without coming in. What does it mean for our prices, inflation, our jobs? Because we're in a global economy.
Mm-hmm.
So something that happens on one side of the earth affects everything downward. So, being that tough guy bully, which a lot of people, that's what they liked about Trump. Let's admit it. He's a tough guy. He's going to get things done. But really, what he's doing is he's isolating us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's somewhat like, wow, that's someone like an abuser.
I was, oh
And
my God, you went there. I was thinking, I was like, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it? Yeah, that is very much somewhat like in being in an abusive relationship.
yeah,
And when an abused person is isolated, they're more vulnerable
yep,
to the attacks of the abuser. Not only that, they have little to zero protection that the abuser knows. That is a fact that the abuser knows. So now he can, or he, it, because the abuse can be male or female.
right.
So now the abuser can capitalize off of the knowledge that the abused person has no defense, no
Yeah,
support.
yep.
They can
I
pretty
post
much have their way.
I posted something today that um, I don't remember her name, so I'm sorry, but she's a journalist. She posted the Saturday Night Live opening from yesterday on Facebook, and they rejected it. They wouldn't let her post it. They
Hmm.
censored it,
Hmm.
and the opening was about what happened with Zelensky in the White House, because it's a satire show.
Right. That's
So Joy Reid just got fired from MSNBC, a prominent Black voice in the media that is very direct about what's happening in the administration, as well as there is a Latina that also hosts in Rachel Maddow's place at 9 o'clock. So they've gotten rid of two diverse voices at MSNBC, and then Michael Acosta also, um, who's a white man, was released because the administration, in my belief, is trying to capture more of a statewide media to control what we see and what we hear.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Here's the issue though with that social media. So
But
they,
I just told you that they wouldn't allow her to post
I
something yesterday.
right, but that's not the only. That's not the only avenue or you know, um, a- and it's very interesting on how they're trying to control the media and the narrative that is going out.
Absolutely.
But the more that and it's actually that's it's the more that they try to control it, the more that it's being seen that it's being controlled.
Right.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
so they're kind of hurting themselves at the same time.
Right. People, the one thing that people do have control over is social media because people have, it's been going on for so long now that people have made so many connections across the globe that would have never been made before,
Yeah,
that even if that even when they try to silence a voice, a popular voice on social media, on a platform, other voices surround it. Other voices become aware and uplift their own.
right.
And people have now become so tech savvy themselves that they'll go and create their own platform.
Hmm. So how does that? So you said social media is huge, right? But Elon Musk owns a platform that has more members than people in the United States. So he is actually the largest
Does he?
media person in the world. Yeah, that's what they said. You can Google it. I could be wrong. Never trust me as a source. I'm giving my opinion,
I
but
guarantee you.
that's what I heard.
Guarantee you 15 to 20% of his is break or bots.
You could be right. I don't trust.
If not more.
I don't trust any of that. But damn, I'm getting old, Pancho. I have no idea what I was going to say.
So what you were before Pancho interjected was you say the people control social media. Well,
Oh
Elon,
yeah.
there you go.
Okay, so he asked to buy MSNBC. Donald Trump made Facebook pay him $20 million in a defamation case and to give him a seat on the board. Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, also owns the Wall Street Journal and just said that he would not allow certain views to be expressed on the Wall Street Journal unless they aligned with his.
Didn't he just pick up the Washington?
Washington Post. Washington Post.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I again, trust but verify.
Right.
They both began with a W.
You can't believe what you read anyway.
That's true, but now that think about the people that were in the inauguration, they were all the wealthiest people in the world, and they all have major influence through their media operations. So they're telling us what to believe, and they also are tech savvy, so they have algorithms to deliver to you what you want to hear. Right after January 20th, and I don't know how this happened, but right after January 20th, all of a sudden I was following Donald Trump on all my platforms. I had to delete it. I don't when did I start following Donald Trump? But anyway, I digress. This has been a very interesting conversation. Contra, I have a question for you. How are you?
I am doing okay day by day. I had a medical emergency on Monday. That
you had a medical emergency?
Yeah. I had a I guess you could call it a seizure.
Okay.
And the doctor said it's basically from dehydration and stress. Now, for those that don't know, I lost my house in the Eaton fires last month.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And the house had been in my family since the early 80s. I had brought it from my parents in 2000. So not only were my brother and sister raised in that house, but my two children were raised in that house, and my grandchildren were beginning to be raised there. It's been a little overwhelming, to say the least. And I've dealt with a lot in my lifetime as far as having, different, going to war, living in different places, packing up and moving at the drop of a dime. But to lose everything, it's been a little overwhelming. I've been told to stop trying to do everything myself and I have two grown children. My daughter's 36 and my son's 25, to allow them to assist and take on some delegation, which, I'm trying to do.
It's hard though.
It is. I found us a place to live while we rebuild, and we are going to rebuild.
Good.
So
so being in outside of LA, you hear that a lot of insurers were not going to support it. So can you walk us through that part?
Yeah, actually, I've got a really, really great story. June of last year, State Farm sent me an insurance bill that was 3 times my mortgage.
Yeah.
And it was about a 25% increase in my insurance. And
Wow.
yeah. And I contacted them and told them, I said, "You've lost your goddamn mind if you think I'm going to be paying this." And they was like, you're in the area where you live at. That's what this is going to cost you to. So it forced me to find um, different insurance. As a vet, I had USAA auto insurance.
Mm.
So I looked into USAA homeowners insurance. And thank God I did. I not only found better insurance, better coverage,
Huh.
but it was cheaper.
USAA always is. Like they're
Um,
great.
and so uh, immediately after everything, the fires and everything happened, USAA had sent a emergency uh, van out and everything to an area located here, and I went there to put in my claim. And so I was sitting there talking to the gentleman and telling them the exact same story about the State Farm portion. And a supervisor overheard me telling the story. And she asked if I would be willing to tell the story to the USAA network. And I was like, sure. And I didn't have a problem with it.
Right.
Um, did that, did the whole thing for them and everything like that. And the next day, the CEO of USAA Insurance contacted me
Wow.
and told me that they were going to fully pay out all portions of my claim and take care of everything on, as far as that was concerned and everything like that. And then 48 hours later, USAA sent out a national briefing saying the same thing. So
Hmm.
kind of was the first person to get them to, my story kind of got them over over that. So
Wow,
it's
that
really,
is amazing.
yeah, I've
It is
really been,
fantastic.
it's been really they've been really great. um I the process is, it's very slow, it's tedious, but we're it's we're taking it one day at a time.
Mhm.
Well, that but behind you, the arch and everything, it looks like a nice place. I mean, are you in a new home or
We're
renting
we're in
or
a
with your mom?
we're in a 4-bedroom rental in Temple City.
Okay.
We have a nice place. The insurance is taking care of that and everything like that. Uh,
Ah,
I had to We've had to, redo, get everything new,
Mhm.
furniture. The pictures in the background you see
yeah.
are, um,
Off your phone.
no, actually, my brother and sister, and their pictures that they've had from the past and everything. My sister, God love her, she had an entire storage bin full of old actual
Nice.
pictures,
Nice.
and so I went there one Saturday and I just went through different stuff and picked up, because my wife was really upset over our wedding picture. We lost our wedding picture, and my sister actually have the one that you see in the background, and I was able to take it and get it um uh
Well,
enlarged,
yes.
and gave it to my wife for Valentine's Day.
Oh,
So it was really nice. So but the thing, getting new things and replacing everything like that is not the big thing. I tell people all the time. I said what I've realized. It's the little things.
Mhm.
It's cooking and realizing that you don't have a damn pot holder to grab the goddamn pot. Because you did, it's
You
just
didn't think
little
about it.
right. Um, and it's just things like that or things that you think like I had, from the time I was in the service, all the way from when me and Amy got married. I have a shot glass. I had a shot glass collection, and I don't know. You may
I
even
remember
remember.
that. Yeah,
So
yeah,
wherever I would go, or even when I was with Spark and I was their travel and events
yeah.
coordinator, whatever country that I went to, I purchased a shot glass.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, I had over 50 to 60 shot glasses on display in my house. So it's
he
things
was a
like that
world traveler.
that you can't replace, that you no longer are able to do. But like I told my wife, I said that just requires us to have to go back and go back and revisit those places again and start new memories and everything like that. So, but
It,
it's
you still have the old ones
yeah,
here,
yeah.
but I get it.
I
Pancho was Pancho worked for me, and he was our travel and events coordinator. So he would go all around the world. And part of what we did was we brought 500 to 1,000 single people to exotic destinations. So that was his job, was to go to Jamaica or go to Greece or go to
he
Cancun.
he literally paid me to travel and drink.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
And
It was the best job ever, to be honest. To me, I tell you, I swear to God, it's the best job in the world.
I
Um,
remember I had asked you, hold on, I'd asked you to go on an event, and you said, but it's my anniversary. And so I said, well, then just bring Amy with you. And you and Amy, I was with you that time. Was it
yeah, yeah.
maybe Cancun?
I think it was probably
Probably
Cancun. It was
Cancun.
our wedding anniversary, and I told him I was like, I understand I got a job. I was like, but that's my anniversary. I was like, so you have to figure something out. And he was like, well, just bring her with her. And I was just like, oh. So at that point, I was allowed once a year to bring my wife to one destination that I went to.
Oh, did it?
So
Did
yeah,
it? Is that what
she
happened?
came out once a year. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's what I love to do is I love to give people um, a career path. And there were so many things in my life that were just gigantic, that I
Wow.
wanted everyone else that worked for me to
Mhm.
feel that. And um, it's interesting because as the leader, you put the best people in the best place.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, and we won't mention any names, but a lot of times the people that you put in place say, I did it. No, you didn't. I
Mhm.
created the vision. I said,
Mhm.
this is how it's going to go. And I
Mhm.
removed all obstacles so you can be a success.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Pancho felt that because there was one time, so we had a shakeup, and it was Pancho and another guy, and two other guys,
Mhm.
um, and the elder in the role berated them on a tour, on one of the tours, like, you're not qualified, I've been doing this for years. I don't know if you remember that or not,
Hmm.
Pancho. And I removed that obstacle. so that they could be a success.
Mhm.
And no matter what happened, we always had a succession plan where the area would continue to grow and flourish. And it actually became better under them,
Mhm.
um, and more popular. Now, I do need to say this, and I say this with a heavy heart. Um, I have one rule, Narcisse, and that is, what does Narcisse mean, and why do you go by Nikki, and which one do you prefer?
Okay, great question. So Narcissus is from Greek mythology.
Hmm.
There's a whole story behind it, right? And it's derived also from a flower, which is Narcissus, that a man that was vain in Greek mythology and so in love
Mhm.
with himself once looked at this pond in the pond, fell in love with his image, but it was a curse that was put on him. So he fell in love with his image in the pond. It turned into a flower, and that flower is called Narcissus, which is a daffodil, right? So my mother named me Narcissus. Long story. She was taking Greek mythology when she was pregnant with me in college. Gave birth, didn't have a name yet. She felt the name was fitting because she loved the way I looked so much. Just thought I was so adorable. And here comes Narciss. Nicole is my middle name, so I go by Nikki.
Nikki. Okay.
Yes, I go by Nikki. And either one works for me.
Okay.
Narciss, and you say it perfectly, right? I when I started using Narciss, it wasn't until actually I was in like my last year of junior high, going into high school. Perfect conversation piece and a perfect icebreaker.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering because a lot of times we do things to make other people feel comfortable.
Hmm.
And my last name is Rochelle. And
Hmm.
growing up, I would hate being in the roll call first day of school because they would call me Raquel, they would call me Rachel, and then all the people in the school would go, "You have a girl's last name," and so we are taught at an early age to kind of shrink ourselves to fit into a mold.
Hmm.
Um, but I digress. I'm going to go back to what I was going to say. I have one rule, and that is when you're at work, you're at work, no matter
Hmm.
where you're at,
Hmm.
meaning whether you're at a bar or wherever. And that was my one rule. And I decided that I was going to quit my job a year before I did. I didn't tell anybody though. And what I decided to do was I said, I'm going to go on every single event, every single trip. And that one year, I went on every single trip. So my last month, I left in October. And on October 7th, we went to Greece. And I knew I was never coming back um, to the office. And Pancho and Brian and Joel, um, they were like, take a shot, take a shot, take a shot. And I did it and I did it. And they were like, oh, you missed one. And I,
I remember that.
yeah, I will never be able to forgive myself for how I treated Joel. And I wish I could tell him myself how sorry I am because I was just mean. I pushed him over a couch. I think I put him in a headlock. It was just, it was bad. And Amy was there, I think. Was she there?
She may have been. I'm not sure.
But it was so, it was against my character. First of all, it was not how I act. I was so hung over the next day. I think we were in Croatia,
Hmm.
and I couldn't even go. I didn't even leave the ship. I couldn't go. So I waited 15 years to tell Joel I'm sorry. If you talk to him, say,
I
Joel, I'm sorry.
I actually
You
speak to Joel once or twice a month. We
good.
we
How's he
keep in touch.
doing?
He's doing good. You know, he's got a baby.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a father now. which is hilarious.
That's hard to believe.
Yes.
Pancho is about 15 years older than me. Me and his daughter are the same age, 36. Yeah. And Joel, why
That's
the
in
hell are
his
you guys
delusional
laughing?
mind. That's in his delusional
Why?
mind.
Why are you laughing? I don't see the humor in that.
So Narcisse, just to give you an idea, Narcisse, about
Such a comedian. I love it.
right, just to give you an understanding of how we worked. There was three of us that worked. It was me, Joel, and Brian. We used to call ourselves PB and J. Okay. Joel was the
I
youngest.
never worked. I never worked.
Right. Joel was the youngest. Brian was the middle one, and I was the older one. You know, so it worked out great because
Yeah.
we all had our, you know, our age group that we could hang with and handle. This one over here, you know.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Well,
Yeah, you. You know. He knew everything all the time. It was funny. But he was a great boss to work for. I will say that. He did give us quite a bit of opportunity to learn and grow from where we actually were.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. When you say I knew everything, you mean I had my pulse on the operation?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm supposed to.
Right.
But remember this too. I didn't go on those trips once you guys got up and running.
Right.
I did it the last year. I did it the last year because I'm like, I built this from the ground up. So why am I not taking advantage of it? And that last year, I didn't even work. I told Pancho and Joel and Brian, don't tell them who I am, because instantly it would diminish their power and people would come to me. And I was just like trying to, you know,
Blend in and see.
blend in and see the world.
Right.
I had a corner office that was all windows and it overlooked the Hollywood sign. And I had an ADC call center and I made all the desks face their windows. So I couldn't give everyone a corner office, but they had the same view that I had. And then I couldn't send everyone to a trip, but if you were in customer service and you worked for me, the highest salesperson actually got to work on the trips. I think that's how Pancho.
That's actually how I got the job.
nice.
Got the job. Yeah. He was always the highest salesperson.
Well, and not only that, but once I got on the trip, the coordinator at the time, Lavinia, she realized how much of an asset and how much of a people person that I was. And with those trips, a lot of times you had a majority of women and less men. So having a male voice helped, you know, navigate some of the different stuff that we would go through.
Right. And I think also the age, as you kind of did the age group, Joel being the youngest was like, everyone took him under their, well, I put him in a headlock, but everyone took him.
By the way, I have pinned that so you can come back to that. Okay.
No. So it was. I'm going to be really honest. It was bad, and I don't make excuses for myself. But I told them over and over, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink, and they thought that they were doing something nice because they're like, this is your last hurrah. Have a shot. But what I didn't realize is that every time I took the shot, they would move another one in front of me and go, you didn't take it yet. Because I had gotten that drunk. And I don't drink a lot, you know, and it was a lesson learned, you know, and it's not something I want to be remembered for, but I do believe you have no shame in your game. And if you did it, own it, move on. So I've never told Pancho I think that I was sorry, and make sure that Joel knows that. Go ahead, Narcisse.
In your defense,
Uh-huh.
okay, in your defense, Joel was a culprit in his own, what would you, in his own headlock, okay?
And wait, and to be honest, it was probably his idea.
Okay, I hear that, but
He was the
again,
boss, so he feels
yeah.
some type of way.
Well, not only that, I loved everyone I work with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, almost everyone I work with. Um, and the day that I left, they all gathered around, and I looked at Joel's face, and his look was that of disappointment and disdain. Because
Mm.
remember, it was just 2 days after. Like
Yeah.
we returned to Greece. We returned from Greece back to LA. Oh my God. We went to London on that trip.
Yeah.
We went to Venice on that trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Troy.
we went to Greece. And then we went to where did we leave from? Venice?
It was Barcelona.
Okay. All right. So we took a flight to Barcelona.
Right.
Anyway, so on that trip, the reason we had three different legs before we got to Barcelona to leave for the trip. Was it Croatia that I didn't go to?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's like the diamond capital of the world or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just remember looking out of the window, vomiting, and then going back to bed. It looked like it was a great view. So that's something that when I think about that moment,
Mm-hmm.
I think of 7 years of 100% pushing, being the advocate, making sure everyone was in a better place than they started when I left.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that one episode is what people remember,
Mm-hmm.
or for me, that's how I took it.
It plays in your background.
Huh?
I say when you think of, when you reflect back on
Mm-hmm.
your history there,
Mm-hmm.
and you think about how you left, for some reason, because primarily, I would guess because of the expression you saw on Joel's face, that
Yeah.
plays in your background.
Yeah.
You free yourself.
Yeah.
You need to forgive yourself, and you need to free yourself.
Yeah, you do,
Yeah.
because
It was 4 hours out of a 7-year career.
Right. And I've talked with Joel, and we've had numerous discussions
About me.
You've come up in conversations, and to be honest, Bill, it was more of thankful for the opportunity given.
Mm.
We were both just customer service, answering phones, doing, online customer
Dating.
service. Right.
Yeah.
You gave us an opportunity to be travel and events managers and coordinators. You gave us the opportunity to create events, to go out and, I to this day, I still have contacts that, when I was working with Spark Networks that I have, as far as business wise, DJs and venues and stuff like that. So the opportunities given,
Outweighed.
Yeah, for sure. And you need to let it go.
Yeah.
Can we have a moment?
Can we have a moment? Can we have a moment?
We can have anything you want.
Okay, so let's take a moment here, right? First, I would like to acknowledge you for being the type of leader that not only created experiences for others, but gave them an opportunity and a time to be spotlighted and shine whereas they may not would have had those same experiences anywhere else. So can we
Absolutely.
be present to that? That is
I
a
I accept that.
that is a great accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when
Thank
you
you.
can call back to someone that you haven't spoken to, well, you haven't worked with in so many years, but you can yet call them on to be a part of a live stream. That says a lot about the impact that you had. That supersedes that moment in time that plays in your background. But I would also like to acknowledge that you have the character within you, not even just then, but even now, to be able to not feel the remorse, but to be able to express it and connect with it. You're repentful, you're repentant of it. And so you want, because it plays in your background, you want that closure of acceptance from your remorse.
Mm,
Want that. That's what you're seeking from Joel, because that plays in your background. Meanwhile, Joel's gone on to have other experiences in life,
yes.
other jobs, other careers, starting a family. And while he may remember that moment, like you remember it, he also remembers the other 7 years, so many months prior to that,
Mhm.
right? And for him, that plays in his background more than him being in a headlock over a shot glass episode. So for you, William,
You are
I
good.
would. So for you, William, knowing that Pancho still has communication with John,
Hmm.
you can ask him to relay the message that even though that's not their conversation, it's a conversation that you have with yourself frequently that you would like to end.
Mm.
And the only way it can even begin to end is if you know that Joel hears that you are remorseful, that you regret that incident. That's
You're gonna
not the
make me
way.
cry.
That's, that's not the way that you wanted your impact or your
Right,
effect to
right,
end, and that's not a way that you want to be remembered.
right.
Right.
That's what's
Absolutely.
important. That's not the way that you want to be
On the
remembered.
head. On
And
the head.
I will definitely, when I talk to him, I will discuss. I will let him know that you are remorseful and that it's bothered you all these years. Because I didn't even know that. I didn't realize that it had that type of an effect on you, or
Oh yeah, I remember
that's
us
probably
exiting.
why you lost your hair.
Shut up.
I'm sorry. I had to get one in. I had to get one in.
So, Pancho, you're not on LinkedIn, right?
Huh?
You're not on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
You don't go in there often.
No.
So I don't know if Narcisse looks at my feed ever, but every morning and every night I do a good morning and a good night, and
Yes,
there's
you did.
a
Yes, you did.
there's a an image of me that I do, and I send it to my kids, and they're like, "Who the hell is this?" Because
Got
if I'm gonna if I'm gonna do an image of myself, because it's an AI generated
yeah.
image, but I kind of I got the black on, the white glasses. It's always the same theme,
Yes.
and they're just like, "Would you stop?"
Do do me a favor too. Also, please tell them next time you speak to them that I said hello. I remember them being in the office, and I remember them coming up and messing with you up in the office all the time when they were younger. I think they were like 12 or 11, 12.
Yeah,
Yeah. So please let them know I said hello and I send my love.
I will. I will. Brooke. Actually, I shouldn't tell their names because they didn't tell me I could. But yeah, she got married in 2021, which is the photo, Narcisse, on my profile. That's me
Okay.
giving the father's speech at
Yeah.
the
Oh,
wedding.
that's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, eh, uh, so she got married in 2021. She had a baby in 20. He's 2 years old. So 2023. Yeah, 2021 she got married. 2022 she got pregnant, and then in 2023 she had the baby. And Amanda is still single. They own. Let's do our pitch right now, okay? So they own the Honey Pot Lounge in Los
Okay.
Angeles, and what they do is Brooke does hair. Amanda does. Oh, I'm not supposed to say their names. Uh,
Too late.
Amanda does. Amanda is an esthetician,
Okay.
and she also does waxings. Um, and I think she does body sculpting as well.
Mhm.
So if you ever need a facial, go to Amanda. She'll take all the hairs out of your nose, out of your ears. Have you ever had that done before?
Not my ears, but my nose. Yeah.
You've had them stick the things up there
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pull them out?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. It's not.
Not pleasant. I think she gets a little bit of a kick out of making me
People,
straight.
other people's pain. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely have to let my daughter for sure know because she's into all that stuff.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's actually, I believe, on the West Adams district,
Okay.
the historical district.
Yeah.
That's now. So LA has no more land, so everything is glamorous in Los Angeles.
Mm.
Because that was at one time when you and I were growing up. Well, no, you weren't even here then. But at one time, when I was driving over there, I used to have a convertible Rabbit, which was a Volkswagen, and I went to pick a friend up over there, and when I knocked on his door, he pulled me in his house really fast. I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "You're driving around here in a convertible with a fucking red hat on. Do you know where you're at?" And I'm just like, "No."
Yeah.
He's like, "You're a target. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like, I thought I looked great, my little red hat.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
Now.
You don't have that issue no more.
No, not at all.
So.
Hojo is gonna get him in there, ain't he? He's gonna get it in there.
You're fun, Pancho, and it has been. It's literally been 15 years since we spoke. I was so nervous today because my co-host, I wanted to make sure that everyone was going to show up, and I didn't talk to you at all, Narcisse, because I really want the authentic, not knowing anything about you, let's have a conversation type of vibe. And I didn't talk to Pancho until this morning when I called him on Instagram.
And I was like, "Oh, I almost forgot about you."
and I said, I knew you. Well, I used an expletive.
Yeah.
And I said, I knew. That's why I called, and so that's why he's here. But it's been great. This has been a really great conversation. Narcisse, do you have a website or anything that you want to steer people to?
I actually have a branding page. I don't have a website right now, but I have a branding page, and it is businesssolutions.gamma. But for right now, I'd say the best way to learn about me and what I have going on is through my LinkedIn. That would be
Okay.
yes, through my content while I'm building things out. But I have one more thing for you, though, William, before we get out.
We can stay on as long as you want. I mean, I'm good. To me, this is what's interesting is not talking to him for 15 years, not knowing you. The conversation just flowed.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
We are in a one moment in time does not define our life. And we are not defined by one moment in time. by one moment of error. We are not defined by one moment or even a few moments of error. Do you receive that?
I do. I do.
I
I
do.
do 100%. Now, tell me why I don't have a job.
Listen, that's some more behind the scenes work there. That's some more behind the scenes because I have no idea.
Like I am sending it out everywhere. And part of why I want to do the podcast is I started a newsletter 2 years ago, and it gets 2 million views a year. That's pretty good. So I wanted to start the podcast because I kind of felt like when people look at my resume, they think I'm 80 years old, because I've done so much. But I started off super young, and I've accomplished a lot in 30 in for being 36. So I felt like maybe I should get my personality out there,
Mm-hmm.
let people know I'm not a stuffed shirt, that there's a real person behind there, with great leadership skills, as Pancho just said,
Yes.
and someone who has built several businesses and businesses within businesses, because when he was in travel and events, that was a business that I created outside of the business that we had.
Hmm.
So someone hire me. I'm putting it out there because you can't keep it silent.
Yes, that's true. That is so
Yeah.
true. Wow, that is amazing.
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I'm good. Just wanted to thank everyone that has donated to our GoFundMe and has donated to our recovery. Because I know a lot of your I know you had posted it once before for us, and I appreciate
you knew that?
Yeah.
How did you know that?
I try to keep up with people that are taking care of me, so later on I can thank them and take care of them.
Wonderful.
It's been
That's
very
interesting. Because I did it on LinkedIn, not on Facebook.
I've gotten some donations and everything like that, so I want to say thank you and I appreciate it.
Okay. I'm glad that you did. I'm super excited that everything is going to work out in your favor.
I will definitely let you know once we move back, and I'm
so
going
I can get upset again, right?
No, we're going to have the best housewarming party Altadena has ever seen.
Narcisse, I would go to his house for Super Bowl parties and get mad.
Why?
Because he had the. Do you remember me getting mad about it?
So he lived in an apartment building. Okay, I have a house with a swimming pool, with a backyard,
a view of the city,
over
on the mountain,
in the foothills of Altadena. So and Altadena is very unique in that in the 60s and 70s, it was one of the few places in Los Angeles County that wasn't redlined. And it allowed Black families to buy and create some sort of neighborhood. So we are above Pasadena and unincorporated Los Angeles County. That's what Altadena is. And I'm really hoping that most people come back and rebuild, but we did have a very large older community.
Yes.
So I don't know what's going to happen with them, but as far as the people that I know, my friends, everyone I know is going to rebuild.
Good.
That's
good. And so every time I would go to his house, I would complain.
You gotta find something, right?
we need to switch places, Pancho. Something's not right because you're living like a millionaire, and I'm like living in this. Because LA is, it's so expensive to live in LA, and like Pancho said, the people in Altadena, which I didn't know the history of it until the
Recently.
fires.
Yeah.
Yeah. The people in Altadena, they generally pass down their properties to their grandchildren and their children. So,
Mhm.
that was his mom's house,
Mhm.
that he bought from her. So it was just, it was a beautiful, beautiful spot.
It's going to be back.
And it will be better.
It'll be back.
It'll
Big,
actually be better.
that's my saying now. Bigger and better.
Yep.
Mhm.
We're going to be back bigger and better. So
I'm proud of you.
thank you.
I'm always thinking about you and Amy and the kids and the grandkids, and you represent a very, very great part of my history, my work history.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget exactly how supportive you've always been, because when you're working on a startup, it's going 1,000 miles an hour.
Mhm.
And
Got to be
and
adaptive. Got to be, yeah.
and I had the largest operation. I mean, I was over the entire operation. So my hands were in everything. And sometimes, I needed to lean
Mhm.
on the department to step up because there's so much going on. And Pancho was,
Mhm.
that's why he got where he was, not because I liked him more, but because he is a trooper and stepped in and filled those gaps.
That's
Narcisse, it was a
good.
Thank you.
pleasure meeting you.
It was
Narcisse, it's a pleasure meeting you also.
yes,
You know,
so thank you. Likewise. Such a
And
joy.
I am always looking for co-host on Sundays at 4. It will be a regular event. The last one went really well for me. So, I just want to keep the conversation going. And you don't have to agree with me. Just come on with your view. And if it's opposite of what we just talked about today, that's welcome, as long as it's civil, as long
Yes.
as we can communicate in a way that helps us understand each other better. And
Yes.
that's the purpose of the UBU.
all right.
Yes.
All right, you guys.
All right. I will see
Is
you
that
later.
Amy? Who's that?
Yeah,
Bye,
Go ahead.
guys. Thank you so much.
that's her.
Hey, Amy,
All right.
how are you?
Hello,
Hi,
Amy.
how are you?
I'm excellent. You look great.
Thank you. Thank
Are
you.
you getting younger?
I don't know. I'm just trying to stay as healthy as I can be under the circumstances, because circumstances can age you real quick from
Absolutely.
now. So
That's
I'm just
Absolutely.
right.
trying not to let it do that to me as much as possible.
How are
Amen.
how are
Amen.
you coping with everything?
Not well, but
Okay.
I'm trying to lean on my faith and take it one day at a time.
You know
Amen.
what I appreciate?
Her
Being honest.
honesty.
Yes.
Yes.
Her
Yes.
honesty.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to say, because we all are used to saying, I'm fine, or I'm blessed, or, not well.
Not well.
That
Right.
Just
that is
just take
something
it one day.
that's honesty. And
Mhm.
I wish I could do more for you or anything for you, but um, I pray for you all the time, and I think about you and Pancho all the time,
Well, I
and your
appreciate.
love for each other. How you put up with him all these years, I don't know.
Yeah, really. So, but
It's
Well,
beautiful.
it's nice seeing both of you, and it's good to. I'm glad y'all talking to him, because it's good for him to be reach out and here talk to people that he knows, and that people that know him, and help encourage him and uplift him, because it's been all on his. He's been taking all this on his shoulders, and it's not a good thing. Even though
Yeah,
he
that's what he was
has a
just saying.
partner, even though he has a partner, he just takes it all on his own shoulders, and I worry about that with him. But
Mm.
I don't know sometimes if he's listening to me when I say that, or if it's going in one ear and come out the other. But I just continue to pray, and lean on that, and pray to God to help us get through this, because it's hard. It's
Yeah,
Amen.
definitely
he just
Excellent.
said that he needs to release some of it.
hard.
So, um, yeah, man, you have a great support system.
I do.
Lean into it. Lean into it.
I will.
Don't put it all on yourself, and don't. I think if you keep putting it all on yourself, and you have an episode like you had earlier, it's going to worry her more.
And,
than if you
That-
than if you distribute it, because she
Right.
does not want to be without you.
That
Unless
is very evident.
yes.
unless she has a really good insurance policy. Now that could.
It's not about the money.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
Only thing
I know.
that might be about the money a little bit is about getting back in my own house, but otherwise, it's not about the money.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I'm sending you guys a big hug.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, my man.
We definitely
All right.
Good talking to you, Narcissus. Nice meeting you also.
It's so nice meeting you as well, Pancho and Amy.
It's nice meeting you as well.
William, if you need somebody, let me know. I'm, every once in a while I'm available. Football season, don't call me. But
Okay. I mean, I'm going to do it every Sunday. So you can, whenever you want, join in. I mean, I loved having you as a guest. I loved both of you guys as a guest. And it was weird because of the veteran.
it was quite, yeah.
It kind of
worked
like
out
just
perfect.
flowed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Whatever you want. And
All right.
Narcisse, you're welcome anytime.
Okay, thank
And it was really great meeting you guys. And have a great rest of your Sunday.
You
you.
guys,
Guys,
too.
thank
All
you
right.
so
God
much.
bless. Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.